we're going to go over increasing employee productivity with training. We're going to talk about just a lot of concepts, not so much technical around this time. So, I'm sure everybody has heard Jerry tell this story many times in the past. The story uses an analogy of a woodcutter who's been sawing for several days and is becoming less and less productive. Um, as you saw, if you use a saw repeatedly, the blade becomes less and less dull. You become tuckered out from trying to make the saw cut the wood. Those solutions to sharpen your saw. The analogy holds the same for your staff as well. Upgrading their skills allows them to become more productive in terms of servicing your clients and adding value to your agency's bottom line. So that's what we're talking about, is sharpening the saw. So how do we know this? Well, the Gartner Group completed a study in 2007 that indicated an untrained user takes up to 6 times as long to accomplish the same work as a trained user. So think about that for a minute. An untrained user spends a good deal of time having to learn how to use a program as they go. Educated guesses are made in an attempt to figure out the software, usually with incorrect or, poor accuracy. So the untrained user attempts another guess, wasting more time. They'll probably go through some help screens to find out what's going on. Still, the clock's ticking. Maybe they'll find the answer and maybe they won't. And the point is, without the appropriate training, you're not reaping the benefits of whatever the employee is really working on and taking full advantage of their time. So if you think back to when you first got your agency management system, that was really quite an expenditure. You may or may not have received proper training on it, depending on how many hours of training you purchased or if you did external training. Even if you did receive training, more than likely you were only trained on the everyday processes, maybe not so many of the advanced features. Did you pursue the training on these advanced features or not afterwards? Or did you just stop at those basic levels? Typically when we do our technology audits in agencies, what we find is that most agencies are only using a portion of their management system and their other programs. Areas like campaigns and marketing are seldomly being utilized at all, and proposals and form letters, haven't been customized because agencies just don't know how. When that happens, users will, try to do things their own way, change it to reflect what they think the agency wants, change it to just reflect, just for this year's coverage. So they're using the same plain old template over and over again too. Things like that could lead to E&O situations if a user's not inputting the right information or, using some incorrect verbiage that the agency doesn't stand by. You can think of lots of situations. When it comes to form letters, we found users that change the canned information each time they send a letter. They're taking probably twice as long as a standard user would with those form letters already tuned in and being trained how to properly use them. And that's a big time waster. So, as an agency owner or a decision maker or a manager in the agency, you want to get the most out of technology and resources that you've already invested in. You want to tap into the knowledge of your employees because obviously they're your biggest asset. Most agencies have at least one, knowledgeable person in every area, a go-to person in that department. You'll find the shared knowledge, though, will bring a real big ROI. People look to that go-to person, but you want that go-to person to, have the same level of knowledge everybody else does by bringing everyone else up to their level. You have the ability to implement enrichment programs at little or no cost, and then that's what we're going to talk about is some different ideas. Perhaps one of your top salespeople could offer, a 15 to 20 minute tips class at a staff meeting or a sales meeting, or account managers on effective techniques for, how they're trying to upsell a different line of business, or what to look for on a certain type of risk. Short classes like that could be invaluable. And agencies or departments are usually already getting together. They can just add these onto there and, just occasional spurts. Internal training programs do more than just increase sales, though. They also let the agencies serve their customers better, foster better communication, and build rapport and teamwork within the agency. So not only does agency training provide a high return, um, its payoff period can be considerably shorter when you look at it compared to other investments. Again, the Gartner Group indicated that the time for recouping the cost of training is less than 9 months, and typically you get an ROI on that investment of about 165%. Pretty substantial. And really, no investment's complete without calculating its ROI or its return on that investment. Um, the formula to use here is, you can see on the screen, is time used to complete the task minus time it takes to complete the task after training, divided by the time it takes to complete the task, which equals the time savings denoted as a percentage. So let's put this in perspective, give you some food for thought. So in this scenario, an employee learns a quicker way to complete a task in the agency management system. Let's say it's a report that Sally runs every month to determine commission income. And it usually takes Sally 5 minutes to run the report, export it to Excel, make some formatting changes. And Sally now receives intermediate level Excel training and creates a macro to do it automatically. So what she used to do manually, now it only takes Sally 3 minutes to do all the steps and have a completed report. So you take the time used to complete the task, which in this case was 5 minutes, subtract the time it takes to complete the task after training, which is 3, and then divide by the 3 minutes. And then it'll give you a percentage for the total time savings. In the scenario for the task, it's 66% faster. Armed with this new knowledge, Sally can apply these time savings to other reports she has too. So just one example. So let's take a look at another scenario here. So this one's quite simple. If training saves an employee 20 minutes per day, and that employee's hourly rate is $20 an hour, we know there's 260 hours per workday.